What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Part-Time Watchers podcast with Keith and Lorcan, where we talk about everything in the world of movies, TV shows, comic books, video games, you name it. And sure, you know what? We might just talk about it part-time.
Very nice.
Lorcan, how are things? Still living the dream, loving that life?
I am still living the lockdown dream. It's all good. It's actually sunny at the minute, so I'm pretty happy. I feel like I start these episodes talking about the weather, where I immediately look out my window, and depending on what type of weather it is, depends my mood. I'm like a cat. I suppose cats do that as well, or some sort of animal where you look out the window and it's if it's raining, I'm having a bad day. But if it's sunny outside, yeah, it's grand. It doesn't matter that there's a global pandemic, slowly destroying the world, and maybe on the verge of war.
Let's just be clear. Let's just be clear. There's a pandemic that's slowly destroying America. The rest of us are figuring it out.
We're figuring it out
slowly.
We're still not doing great, but we're doing fine. It kind of looks like, we have a fire on a frying pan or something like that, and it's manageable. I could just take it off the heat and we'll probably be fine. But America is the house is on fire, and now the neighbor's house is on fire, and now everywhere else is on fire. And there's some people standing outside the fire going I don't believe the house is on fire. I believe it's a hologram.
No. They're not standing outside the house.
The people in the house
standing in the kitchen. Yeah, saying that.
Yeah, I believe the heat's just it's fake. It's not real. The pain I'm feeling right now is totally not real. Anyway, listen, that's a highbrow metaphor for anyone who couldn't actually piece that together. America is the house on fire, Just in case anyone couldn't put two and two together there.
I think they got it. Yeah. Apologies if you are American and you're listening to us. It's no disrespect to you.
Seem to be of the opinion that it's a bit of a shitstorm. I think most Americans are nearly apologizing to everyone else, going listen, we know we're kind of not handling it well, but I'm handling it well, and I'm sure most people who are listening to this are competent enough to know not to wear masks and to just be good people,
Yeah, I mean, we do set such a standard for competency on this show
totally.
that you would assume our listeners are at the same level of competency as us.
I'm wearing a mask right now, Keith.
And the sound quality is still great.
I sanitize every single time I touch my keypad. So
every button, every tap,
every time. Yeah, I overcompensate if anything.
Oh yeah. It's, let's be fair. We're lockdown is slightly lifting and stuff in Ireland. I was out for a hike yesterday. It's getting there. We're just doing it slowly.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing, I like how America is literally on fire at the minute in terms of what's happening, and in Ireland it's we want the pubs to open, and people are just give it 4 more weeks or 3 more weeks, and people are I don't know if I can do it. And it's listen, the pandemic will have calmed down, and then we can go to the pub. And we've actually lifted slight restrictions in Ireland at the minute where you can go to the pub, but you basically have to order food with it at the minute. Yeah, sandwich, and you can stay for 90 minutes, but people are I just want the pub without the sandwich, and I'm just you can this is the loophole, lads, just get the sandwich. So that's what we're dealing with at the minute. So I need to put things in perspective. I think we have the lid on it for the most part, except the pub situation, and it seems to be on everyone's lips at the minute. It's yeah, but we're not really back yet. The pubs aren't back. And I'm get your priorities right, lads. I think there was 21 cases today or something along those lines, and then you look at America and it's 22,000 or 200,000 actually, I think, isn't it, at some cases? So anyway, listen, I don't want to talk about it because it makes me sad when I think of that.
That's the loophole. Get the sandwich, lads.
Just get the sandwich. Say if America could just have the sandwich, we wouldn't be in this situation.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get off the topic of nothing to do with the podcast that we're doing. I love how every week we do have some kind of a random update on how we're getting on.
It's just, and I'd love to think that some people out there think that that's political as well, and they're just talking about these two lads talking about having sandwiches, and they're you're getting too political.
Just have the sandwich and have a pint. Anyway. We have no major main topic this week, but there has been a lot of news A lot of kind of movie announcements and movies going back into production, which is nice to see. And a couple of new shows that were announced and things like that we're going to get into. But to start off, let's hit the trailer world. We had a couple of trailers this week, and one trailer that came out a couple of weeks ago, but I only seen it this week, so we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen this trailer a while ago now.
But, which one are you? Yeah, so I'm talking. The first one that we're starting off with is a new Netflix show. So Netflix are obviously in the last couple of years have been just dropping so many good documentaries, and especially now during quarantine, they've been keeping us entertained the whole time. But they got a new one that looks really interesting, especially for anyone that's interested in the mob, not becoming a mobster, not joining the mob. That's not what I mean. But this is looking at, and if you are interested in joining the mob, you're definitely listening to the wrong podcast.
Yeah.
But this one is, so it's called Fear City, New York versus the Mafia. So they dropped this trailer, I think it was at the beginning of this week.
Yeah.
But it's due out on the end of this month in July. Actually, it's due this week, like July 22nd, which I just love when they drop a trailer.
Oh, it's so
like
good.
A week before it comes out, because you're just seeing it, you're just hyped, and you're like, yes, I'm going to watch this next week. It's great. But this trailer looks really cool. The show looks really great. It's looking at basically how the mob were so in control of New York for so long. And this is the story of how the FBI actually brought down, I think it was like 5 or 6 major families that were still in control towards the end of the time.
It's the 5 families. Like, say if anyone's watched like The Godfather or anything along those lines, they don't mention the names directly, but you know, like Gambino, you know, mob family, and like whatever the Fratellis, or I can't think of their names, but they're all Italian mafia names as well. But like
you've tried Italian names on the show before and it's not gone well.
It's the Muschieri family. But but like this documentary looks amazing. Like it's from the producers of Don't Fuck with Cats, which I actually never watched, but
it's actually very good.
I've heard it's really disturbing good, and it's kind of put me off watching the start of it. And like I can handle it, but it seemed like a lot of people who have a high threshold for like that type of thing were like, it was really heavy going at the start, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to, you know, get into a documentary series where at the start of it I'm like wincing because, you know, some kid is murdering a cat and they're showing it, and I'm like, ugh, don't know if I want to see that. But it's the same producers, and like I actually, funnily enough, I watched The Godfather there again. I haven't seen it in like 8 years, and I remember looking up and being like, is like, you know, just thinking like, are the mobs still a thing in New York? Because me and you were in New York a couple of years ago as well. And there's something in my head that I have like this vision of like, you know, all mob controlled. And I'm like, modern day New York is pretty like, you know, like there's no crime or anything really. So I'm like, I wonder if there's still a mob family. And then I came across the fact that like the 5 families were basically taken apart in like one big sting. And I remember thinking to myself, I was like, that would make a great movie. And then I saw the trailer for the show and I'm like, what? This is crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I didn't look into it any further because I knew this documentary was coming out, and I'm like, I kind of want to see how they got them all down, because they were so like entrenched in like politics and, you know, basically the whole law and kind of like police system basically in New York, that it like this must have been like an insane operation to like do it behind closed doors where no one knew what was happening, or, you know, it's just absolutely nuts. And like, yeah, like this show looks class. And like, from the Don't Fuck with Cats guys, like, do they have a particular style in how they do it? Because I saw the music in this and I'm like, this seems like it could be a bit tongue-in-cheek as well, like, and not maybe take itself too seriously. And I kind of like that tone, but I haven't seen Don't Fuck with Cats, so I don't really know what their style is.
No, like they didn't have a style that was like making fun of the system or situation. Like in terms, like the one Don't Fuck with Cats, like that's it gets pretty dark in parts of it, so it couldn't really be obviously like the mob clearly is as well, but like this, it just seems kind of like they could be kind of making fun of some of the, not making fun, but like having a joke at the expense of some of the people that were involved in it as well. But at the same time, like it seems like it's got like a really serious tone, and I really looking forward to it, because like you said, it's such an interesting story on how they were so powerful, and then how in like these 1 or 2 major stings they ended up taking down like some of the most powerful people in the city. So it's going to be really curious to see it, and then when you see someone like Rudy Giuliani showing up like as an interviewee in the middle of it, it's like, oh, I want to see what that.
There's nice mentions of Trump as well, because there's the union workers as well, so like there'll be like nice little kind of nods to like the modern day New York that would follow afterwards as well. But like some of those mob bosses as well, because it seemed like they caught them at like wiretapping, which would have been like, you know, pretty big technology at that time as well. So like I wonder how these old men are going to be like caught out, because like they show clips about the fact that like one of them was having like this massive affair with their like land or their maid or something along those lines. And I can guarantee there's like some embarrassing stuff in there. And just from the tone that I saw of the trailer, I'm like, they're probably going to air a lot of that dirty laundry, and it could be hilarious. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, like totally, this is gonna be great. Do you know if this is like a one-off documentary or is it a series, a bit like Don't Fuck with Cats? Or
But the looks of it, I think it's a series. It's like a couple of episodes long.
It's like 8 episodes probably, like, so it'll be like a super long documentary.
Yeah, hopefully so.
Awesome.
But yeah, Netflix, like, honestly, some of the documentaries they've dropped in the last couple of years are just like so bingeable, and so they're so good for like a social, like like social marketing at the minute, because all people are doing is talking about them online.
Yeah.
And this looks like it's going to be the next kind of like big thing people are talking about online. So looking forward to it. July 22nd. That's this week, so right around the corner.
Oh.
And another trailer that we have, I think it's for another Netflix series actually, but this is a movie coming out on Netflix with Jamie Foxx and JGL, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, called Project Power. So I've seen, like, I've come across this trailer just on YouTube, but I haven't seen it pushed anywhere else yet.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether that's a good or a bad sign, or what the story is.
God, Jamie Foxx is so hit and miss, though. Like,
he's so hit and miss.
There's kind of like, you like, is this Jamie Foxx, like, I don't know, Oscar winning Jamie Foxx, or is this just, you know, Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, what do you call it?
God,
Electro. Oh, like, he's so hit and miss sometimes.
Like, imagine having that. Like, obviously, geez, imagine having any role in your resume would be great for an actor. Like when we're talking about it. But imagine someone like him looking back and that and be like, oh my God, what was I thinking?
Oh, he's done more stinkers than that though as well, and he can be so hammy. Like him in Baby Driver as well. I really didn't like him in that. Like,
I did.
Oh no, I really didn't like him in that. Like some characters he portrays is just a bit crap as well. But like, you know, I saw the trailer for this, and it could be good, but it has a bit of bright about it, doesn't it? Like, it kind of feels,
it's got a bit of a dodgy Netflix movie where it could be good, could be crap. But for anyone that hasn't seen it, do check it out. I think the movie's out on August 14th. But the premise for the movie is that they have these pills that give you superpowers, but when you take them, you only get 5 minutes of superpowers, and you've no idea what the power is you're going to get. So it's a cool premise in the fact that, like, obviously it becomes this like addictive thing and they're very hard to come by, where people just want them, and then you get superpowers for 5 minutes, and you go and rob a bank for 5 minutes with powers, whatever you get, or whatever the situation is that you want to be in with it. Like, it's a really cool idea for a plot, and like a storytelling idea. But then when you're kind of watching the trailer, like, one thing I'll say in the trailer, the visuals look great. Like, they've got some. It looks like a really cool, like, vivid. It's like shooting style and technique. Like it kind of pops off the screen, and it's really bright. Like some of the visuals they have is really cool. Like, they have a scene in it where I guess Joseph Gordon-Levitt has taken the pill, and he's gotten some kind of powers that essentially make him like super strong. But like, someone shoots him point blank.
Yeah, that looks pretty awesome.
And it's like slow-mo where the bullet like hits his forehead and bounces, but like all the skin on his face ricochets from the bullet hitting him, and it looks really, really cool.
They touch on it in the trailer as well, but they're like, the thing they don't mention about the pill is that, like, it can kill you as well. Like, you know, so like wherever there's like a 1 in 50 chance of you getting like these 50 different powers, there's also a chance it might kill you as well. How crap would it be if, like, the open of the movie, like, they have Jamie Foxx for the start of it as well, and he takes the pill and dies immediately, and then you just have another character who carries the film as well. But like, it's the typical 90s trope to get like a big name in there for the first 10 minutes and kill them off right away. So Jamie Foxx is killed off in the first 10 minutes, and everything we've seen from the trailer is the first 10 minutes. Be fantastic. I'd love it.
So just completely pull the wool over your eyes.
But how, like, I think that's a great premise for a film as well. But like, again, that would be devastating if you took the pill and died immediately.
Like, what's the chances? Like, if you like, what kind of superpowers? Obviously, we see in the trailer that someone like gets ones where they're like on fire. People are super strong. Like, imagine you got one where like you took the pill and you just like melted.
It's like what's a power as well? Or like, if you got a power that you didn't immediately know, like, so something like, oh yeah, I'm invincible, but you know, no one knows that right away until you get shot in the head and you die, and you're like, oh, I didn't die, or whatever.
You take the pill and you've no idea what it is. Like, what's the first thing you do to test what it is? Like, do you just get like a knife and just like stab your own head?
But it could be like, oh, you know, I'm metal knife proof, but like not like, I don't know,
wooden stake proof.
Wooden stick proof. For like, I can still be stabbed with other forms of something else. Or like, specifically, I'm okay to be stabbed by a knife, but if you stab me with a fork, I'll die. Very specific niche powers as well. They They definitely haven't taught this one true.
What's your weakness? Forks. I can't. I can't.
Do you think?
Step.
Do you think there'll be like a little nod because like there was that CGI what do you call it, man who's on fire in the trailer as well? Do you think there'll be like a nod because they're only 5 minutes of power where like they'll get Jamie Foxx and he'll be like electric and he'll be all blue like he is in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, and then he'll go like, oh, this looks crap or something like that, and he'd be like, hey, that's a fun little nod to like an absolute piece of trash that you've done before.
Yeah, you never know. But like, yeah, I mean, I've a strange feeling this could be one of those movies that's kind of like, oh yeah, it's all right. Like, it's another one that could be like, it could have had a lot of potential, but they maybe just didn't.
I feel like this is I feel like the concept is great, but it'll be crap. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or even something like Jumper. And like, yeah, actually, you know what? It'd be more like Jumper because like Jumper's still a half decent film, but has a great premise, and it was just not done well. And I feel like this will be the same. Like the premise and like the idea for this is really cool, but like awful. Or it could turn around and be a Limitless, where it just turns out to be awesome. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like the trailers for Limitless look awful, but then that film came out, and I'm like, this is actually very good. So
yeah, I actually really enjoyed Limitless.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. And sure, then surely if it comes out and is anyway popular, everybody will be like, oh, what would your 5 minutes of power be? What would you go if you get a 5 minutes of any superpower?
Knife proof, but only. I go knife proof and then tell someone to stab me, and then we'll see what happens. No, like it's always flight, but the only issue with flight then for like 5 minutes is that like, you know, the first thing you want to do is go really high, but then you're like, oh shit, how long has it been? And then you're like, have to go down really fast again, and you'll end up half the time just worrying about it. So
yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
Maybe 5 super stressful minutes because you're
the only thing about the 5 minutes, like especially if you can never get it again, is that don't do anything too epic as well, because you'd be left chasing that high forever. Because you're basically like, I peaked with those 5 minutes of that power. The rest of my life is shit. so like pick something that's like halfway used and like, oh, that was pretty cool, and like you can move on from it. But
that's
awesome.
Fair. So on this show as well, we're big fans of like animated comedies, like adult oriented animated comedies, but we're not that we're not big fans of Star Trek, but we're not big Star Trek guys like some people
it's coming across more and more that I think I don't like Star Trek. And like the more I see more things, I'm like, I don't think I like this universe. And like I have goes at Star Trek fans, and like I'm doing it again, aren't I? But this the show that you're going to talk about that I really interrupted you talking about looks pretty fun.
Yeah, so and this is the funny thing, that I know a couple of Star Trek people that don't like the look of it at all.
Oh, there you go.
So Star Trek there's a new animated series coming out, and I think we've talked about it before. We haven't talked about the trailer. Maybe we have. I can't remember. There's this trailer for
part-time, Keith. Part-time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Star Trek Lower Decks. So it's an animated Star Trek comedy series. And it looks kind of like in the line of like Final Space or Rick and Morty type show.
Yeah,
but I haven't, like, there hasn't, in the trailer there wasn't any curses or anything. Like, it wasn't like I couldn't find a Red Band trailer, so I'm not sure if it's rated O or if it's just like a comedy that's kind of going for that like edgy kind of look. But it looks like it could be good. Like, it's kind of a younger team that are going to be like in the lower decks, hence the name, of like a Star Trek ship, I guess. But yeah, it looks like it's got potential, but I think if it's not overrated, like if it doesn't fully go there, for me, I think it's just going to be a bit like, meh.
I think it's definitely more Final Space than it is Rick and Morty. Like in terms of a visual style, it's probably more Rick and Morty. Like there's some really nice planets where you can see like, you know, gems coming out of it, and it's like, oh yeah, that's kind of like Rick and Morty, you know, deep space type of thing. But in terms of comedy and how it works out, and they're playing a very straight man sitcom type comedy feel to it, and it's like, that's very Final Space. Final Space is super silly now. Like it kind of goes into the realm of being like over the top silly really as well, and it can be almost kid focused in some regard, but it's definitely aimed towards like an older demographic. And I feel like this could be like a Final Space that's played a little bit more straight man, you know what I mean? Like it's not like it's not too silly for kids or anything along those lines, and I think it could be pretty good. Like I like Annie's Space Adventure as well, and I like the idea that, you know, it's the ragtag underdogs rather than the big ones, because I feel like that's what Star Trek are missing, because like, you know, they do get kind of corporate, and maybe that's why people like it, because there's a sense of realism to it as well, where like, oh, it's a structure and it's like this kind of like whatever wayfinding mission, and they're going to cross, but they still have like their proper structure thing as well. But like this seems like a very underdog story as well inside of that world, and it could be really good. Like in, you know, with animation, there's a lot they can do there. Like they could probably bring back like old characters, and you know, they could probably sit in their own little canon, so they could, like, I don't know, there's just more room to like do weird things. And
Yeah.
I always find that when you, I suppose, take an established property and you do something strange with it, like the Harley Quinn show is really good for that as well, where like they're just like, I don't really care about this as much because it's animated, so like they let them do whatever they want. So this could be like a breath of fresh air for Star Trek. Like this is one of the things that I think is going to be great for it. But like, you know, as you said, a lot of the Star Trek fans are probably going to look at this and go, this is stupid, or like, you know, this is breaking whatever the tone of voice that like Star Trek is supposed to have. But like they definitely need it, because I think they're kind of like hemorrhaging fans at the moment, or you know, all their shows at the minute, maybe bar Picard, doesn't seem to be doing too well. So you know,
Yeah, well, you see that, like that's something I've kind of like, I think has kind of been an issue with like with Star Trek in the last couple of years, where like the big franchise movies they'd done, like original Star Trek fans didn't like those, but like general movie going audience was like, oh yeah, this is kind of cool for Star Trek. But now that they've gotten back to like the OG kind of Star Trek stuff, like the OG fans are enjoying it, like Picard and like some of the other stuff that they're trying to do. But like, I don't think that's really getting many new fans.
Yeah.
You know, like I haven't heard of anyone that hasn't watched Star Trek just like, oh, I can't wait to watch Picard, you know?
Yeah, it's true.
So like, I don't know, like if this is just something where it's like, hey, let's aim for a completely new demographic. Like, let's aim for people that like these silly kind of comedy things, maybe get them into Star Trek, and then like it's going to be on the same network as Star Trek Picard and Star Trek Discovery. So maybe this will like get people into the Star Trek universe a little easier, you know?
Yeah.
So you never know. Like I'll probably check it out when it does come out. I've no idea when it comes out. I didn't even write down. That's how much I was invested in the trailer.
Yeah,
but it's coming out sometime soon. On CBS.
In a galaxy near you. Maybe.
If it's on CBS All Access in the US, then it's probably going to be on Netflix in Ireland and the UK and all that. If it is, so yeah, whenever it comes out, we'll give it a look anyway and see what it's like. But yeah, let's move on to some movie news. So big news in the world of movies this week that kind of took over most of the news cycle was Chris Evans is a beautiful man. Ryan Gosling is a beautiful man.
Oh, yeah, I see where you're going. Where you're going right now. You know, only two people allowed on set now as well, with the Rona going around. These two beautiful boys. I'll pay for this. How much is this?
That is not where I was going.
Oh no, me neither. Of course not. No, you.
Okay, well, I know what maybe you want to watch, but and apparently that's what most people want to watch as well, actually, based on how people are talking about this online. But this film is not actually about that. No. Unfortunately for a lot of fans online, because people have been freaking out about how beautiful these two guys are in the movie together.
There's some very suggestible fan art out there already.
Very suggestible fan art already, yeah. But no, so what has actually happened is Chris Evans and Ryan Gosling are teaming up for a film, but it is going to be directed by the Russo brothers of Winter Soldier, Endgame, Civil War fame. They are just like, they absolutely own the MCU for the last 10 years and have done a class job with it. But so this is their first big budget movie since Avengers Endgame. So they've produced a couple of movies with their Agbo studio, but this is the first one they've come back and directed themselves, big budget wise. And like, what a cast to get together, getting Evans and getting Ryan Gosling. It's going to be on Netflix, so I think they're hoping to start shooting this film around January. So it'll probably be like late next year on Netflix or the year after that. But this film is based off a book. It's called The Grey Man. So it's from a best-selling book series. And the basic premise behind it is Ryan Gosling is playing a former CIA agent that is on the run now and has been hunted down by a current CIA agent that he used to work with, which is going to be played by Chris Evans. But the goal with this is to kind of make an espionage kind of film on the level of like a James Bond type film. Awesome. But also to like franchise it out. So this is going to be like the first in a series. Ryan Gosling's going to be kind of like the main lead going forward in it, because he's the kind of main man the books are around. So the plan seems to be that obviously the Russos have said it themselves. They're like, we just need to make one good movie and we'll see how things go. But the ultimate goal is to like make a franchise, and they've even said like make a universe around this story. So if it goes well, like one of the other things they've said that just sounds super exciting is that they in an interview when they were asked about it, they said like for fans of Winter Soldier, like they're going to enjoy this, and that this is kind of taken that type of movie and that type of story into a real world setting. And like Winter Soldier is legitimately one of my favorite
Yeah.
comic movies of all time, if not one of my favorite movies of all time. So the idea that they want to take someone like Ryan Gosling and Evans for this movie as well, put them in a movie together that's like a James Bond type spy
Mm.
espionage world that turns into like a potential franchise or universe if it's successful.
Yeah.
Based off very successful books that have already been released that people are already big fans of.
Yeah.
Like, it all sounds class. I'm all in.
Oh, 100%. Like, as soon as you say political espionage or anything along those lines in Russo's, like, I like this could be awesome. Like, to be honest with you, it kind of sounds a little bit like a Jason Bourne type of film almost. You know what I mean? Like running, being
I
tracked
thought
by the
myself, yeah.
CIA and stuff like that, and it's kind of friend to friend. I kind of hope to go more James Bond than Jason Bourne or Mission Impossible. You know, like really kind of grounded and like have that sort of, and like I reckon they'll do that because like they grounded Captain America with Winter Soldier really, and I
Yeah.
thought that was excellent as well. So I'd be super excited to see what they do for this as well. The only thing that's kind of put me off is that, you know, the idea of franchising it out as well, like it kind of already takes a little bit of tension out because we know that someone like Ryan Gosling's probably going to carry it moving forward, which means that throughout the movie he's probably going to be tracked, but I know he's not really in any danger at the moment as well. Whereas if we watch this without knowing that they're potentially going to spin this off, like I'll go in going that, right, you know, this could be a one-off film and, you know, he gets done or whatever like that. But yeah, like it takes a little bit out of it, but like at the same time, as long as this movie, like, you know, has the Russo and has that talent behind it, like, you know, Chris Evans, I love Chris Evans. He's not on the same level, I think, as an actor as Ryan Gosling. I think he could be. Like, I just don't think he's been given like the right projects to really go hard at that at the moment, and this could be one of them. But having the Russos working with Ryan Gosling is super exciting. I think that could be incredible, and I'd like to see Chris Evans potentially as a bit of a bad guy in it as well. Like if he's hunting down Ryan Gosling, it would be interesting to see him be more of a villain type role, or at least, you know, anti-hero role could be really interesting.
Yeah, it could be good because literally, like the majority of roles that Chris Evans takes on or has been in are like where he's like the clean cut good guy of the story,
or a bit of an asshole who's a good guy, like, you know, like
yeah.
that film that they had done earlier this year as well, the kind of murder mystery one, where he was a bit of an asshole, or even something like Snowpiercer, where he's not necessarily a good guy, but he is the hero of the film. I'd rather see him as almost like the antagonist or the villain. Like it'd be just interesting, and he
kind
could do it.
Definitely. Henry Cavill, Mission Impossible type kind of role.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Something like that, yeah, where he's not necessarily the bad guy, he's just following orders, but like he's definitely the villain of the piece. Yeah, that could be really good.
Yeah, and like you said, I think the idea of like Ryan Gosling working with the Russos, because like that's just such a like Ryan Gosling is such a guy for like he's always seems to be in like a movie where you're kind of like, oh, that's like a highbrow movie, or like that's like a prestige level movie. Most of the ones he's in. Whereas this is just like a straight up action, not action, but this is like a straight up like there's going to be good action in it. It's clearly a movie that's set to set like a franchise. It's not a movie where they're going to be hoping to get like an Oscar out of it. So like I'm excited to see him take on a role like that where he's clearly going to come in and just have a bit of fun with it.
Yeah, like we've seen a version of this like in Blade Runner where he's kind of playing like it's still action as well, and he does action scenes as well. But I'd like his personality to come through. So something like, you know, The Nice Guys, where he has that personality, but like he's high spec like action hero, like CIA, you know, blacklist guy or something along those lines. It could be fucking awesome. I get really excited because I think Ryan Gosling is an incredible actor, and for the Russos to get their hands on someone like that, and then someone like Chris who they've just worked with for years, and like I'd say Chris loves doing films with them because, you know, like,
oh, absolutely,
yeah, like these guys have really like you know, his career was definitely made beforehand, but you know, Chris Evans, you know, he's kind of one of those actors I think who really flourishes under certain directors, and under the Russos he just shines. So like this could be absolutely huge. So like I'm really looking forward to it. Not necessarily about like a franchise moving forward, but definitely this film. And
this film in general, and one of the cool things as well is that like just to get other MCU junkies on board as well is that like so Joe Russo was the one that actually wrote the script, but he also got Marcus and McFeely who have who have wrote like Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame, like the lead writers in all those films. So they got those guys to come in and like touch up the script and make sure it was kind of up to par as well. So the fact that like the four guys, like the two, like the Russos and Marcus and McFeely, that done like Endgame, Infinity War, like you said, Captain America, Civil War, Winter Soldier, the leading creative team on those movies are all back together for this film, and you've got Chris Evans, who we know, like you said, shines under him, and you're bringing in someone like Ryan Gosling, and you've got this like story based off like best-selling novels that we know have been successful as a story. It's just like
it could be awesome. And
yeah,
I think any other talent attached to this, like even if it had Gosling but a different director who was kind of unproven or done something else that I didn't really respect as highly, I'd probably go, this sounds like a Jason Bourne ripoff, or Man from U.N.C.L.E. as well, where like it sounds okay, but because of these three kind of mixes of talent, like I think this is going to be incredible. Like I don't see how this is not going to be amazing. So really, really looking forward to this. Really looking forward.
And then
you can quote me on that.
I'm sure they'll be quoting you on the front of like Variety magazine. Lorcan says, really looking forward.
People are waiting right now, and it's like Lorcan has claimed that this movie with one of the most successful directors of all time and two of the most successful actors of all time is going to be a good film.
What does he think?
Is it going to be good?
Yeah. The only extra bit of news, I guess, on this film, which is a bit crazy to be honest, but the budget for this film is $200 million. So this is the most expensive Netflix film. This is the most expensive Netflix film they've ever made.
Yeah. And one of the cheapest Russo films of all time.
Why in the name of God an espionage film with two guys chasing each other around the world is going to cost $200 million to make? I have no idea.
I feel like the Russo are probably going to take as much money talent-wise as the two lead actors. I think to get the Russos on this, they're probably pocketing maybe $5 million each, potentially. It could be the case like that. But like, still, even if you take that and talent costs, which we'll say that the two other main stars get like between 8 to 10 million each, which is higher than what they definitely get in any other film. Yeah, that's still like 180 million. And this isn't even marketing either. This is a lot. What the hell are they going to do?
Exactly, do marketing. But like, I just know it. Like, how I don't know how this is the most expensive film that they've ever it just sounds kind of it sounds like a totally unnecessary amount of money to put into a movie like this, Well,
the Russos might want to do it all as much kind of like practical effects as they can, or
even doing that, like James Bond movies don't cost 200, like they are like well up in the 150 million, sure, but like
with like basically full movie reshoots as well.
Yeah, and Daniel Craig taking a hell of a lot of money for it. So like I don't like it. Just sounds like it's just one of those things where I hope it doesn't be like where it's kind of like a good movie. People are like, why the hell did they spend so much money? Like when you put this much money into a movie, you expect it to be hella good. So it seems a bit kind of crazy that they're spending so much money on it. Doesn't mean the movie doesn't sound amazing. It just it seems like a totally unnecessary risk to be taken. But I guess Netflix don't really see risks. They just see money. Money. We have money. You take our money. There you go.
Take this money.
Yes. Another film that is starring a current MCU dude.
For now,
is the upcoming Uncharted film, which has been in development for at least 7 or 8 years now at this stage. Various different versions of the script have been floated around, but Lorcan, you're not going to believe it. They actually started shooting.
I won't believe it until I see Mark Wahlberg with a mustache and a cigar. I won't believe it until then.
But they actually officially have started day one production. So Tom Holland, who is playing a younger version of Nathan Drake, so he just posted a photo from day one, it was last week at some stage, of him and his chair that says Nate.
Oh, nice.
Yes, for Uncharted. That is his name in the movie.
Nate Drake.
But, Nate Drake. But to be honest, like I've been excited for an Uncharted film because I love the games, dearly. But like the idea of a full game, which is based off like a flashback sequence from one of the games with a younger Nathan Drake, just kind of is like, I don't want that. I want Nathan like as an adult. Man.
I just want maybe just before the very first film, like maybe whatever led up to that, and just take it from there. Because like, I think Drake in the first game is supposed to be what, like 26 or something like that, or 27 or something along those lines. I think he's under 30, and like you're looking at someone like Tom Holland. He's like what, 23, 24 or something like that, is he? So like he could probably play that character now, rather than like the teenage Drake who's supposed to be 14 or something. And
Yeah.
don't get me started on Marky Mark. So,
we're just not even going to get at him playing Sully, which is
I still think that's just an atrocious casting. Like, you
it's
just see him
awful.
stand there. It's like, hey, I don't want to do the accent, huh? Hey, Drake.
It's purely him being cast just because he's been attached to this movie for so long.
They're just like, it's kind of sad that he was cast to play a Drake for the longest period of time.
Like 10 years ago.
It's gone on so long now that he's Sully. So it just makes no sense. Like, he could have definitely went on as a bad guy. Like, they could have kept him on as a bad guy doing Sully, and he could have still got as much screen time, because I know he was like happy about the project, but give him like a main villain role, like, and cast Sully in the correct way. Because like, listen, I could. I'm the same as yourself. I don't think this is going to be a great film now, unfortunately. But like, it hasn't even started, so like, maybe I'm just being negative.
We'll see what comes out. But it's not even that. I think one of the things that has kind of excited me now though about this is Tom Holland has been posting photos from behind the scenes, and like, to be fair, like, the haircut looks kind of Nathan Drake younger now, to be fair, which is a good start. Not that like his haircut makes a difference, but at least he kind of looks like him. But one of the things you've also seen is that he is kind of like buffing up more so than like his Spider-Man role. Like, he actually has like gotten like quite big in comparison to what he usually looks like. So like, and obviously like, he's working on set with Mark Wahlberg, who gets up at 3 o'clock in the morning to start his day and work out for 7 hours before doing anything else. So I mean, I guess it's like working with The Rock. You kind of got to put on some size on screen beside him. But the fact that he is putting on like a bit of size like that does mean that like, potentially they're not going as young as I would have thought they were going to go. Because like, when they cast Tom Holland, he's been playing like a 15-year-old Peter Parker. So I'm like, Jesus. So we're just going for like a 15-year-old Nathan Drake. Like, I don't want to see that. Whereas like you said, the first game, he's like late, like just past mid-20s kind of age. So if they go for like just a like early 20s Nathan Drake getting into it, like, then I'm more on board with the fact that like, okay, well, if you're going at that, like, that could potentially start like a 10-year franchise or whatever.
Tell a different story. Like, it could still be the same storyline. So where Nate has to go in and get the ring or something along those lines as well. So it's kind of like based like a heist film, but like the same as like all these Uncharted games as well. It takes a supernatural type of turn, maybe through it or something like that, or bring in elements of the first film as well, like where Nate finds the submarine in the jungle as well. Like, have that be kind of one of the big pinnacle parts of the film instead, and then have the sequels follow the games. But like, listen, we don't really know the direction they're fully going at the moment as well. So it's kind of harsh maybe having goes at it. But like, it's just a casting that has me down. And then the fact that this has gone through such a lengthy cycle of directors and producers and writers and actors as well, that it just has me kind of going like, is this film going to be any good at all? And I hope it is. Like, I like Tom Holland. I think he's so much charisma, and he's actually a really good casting for Nate, I think. Well, especially a young Nate. But we'll see how it goes. I don't want to shit on it too much because I really like Uncharted.
I don't want to shit on it either. But one of like I'm only just after remembering it now, and one of the main reasons I know I'm not excited for it is because it's the same guy that directed Venom directing it.
I actually forgot about that.
Completely turned me off. So like, just to break hearts right at the end, let's just leave it on that note and see.
Do you think he'll get Eminem in to sing like a song for it as well? It'd be like Uncharted, Uncharted. He just does his version of Venom. I'm trying to think of it. Like, there's no iconic song from Uncharted, unfortunately.
Terrible. Oh, it's so bad.
Brutal. God. It'd be fun to make it super.
One thing, actually, if they don't have the Uncharted score from the games in here, they're missing a serious beat.
That score is beautiful.
It's so good.
It's very John Williams. It's awesome.
It's just epic, and it feels like. And again, updated Indiana Jones type film, which is exactly or game, which is exactly what this film should feel like. So, look, hey, we here's hoping that they do what we wanted to do and not what the director probably wants.
I think we're going to go on again for another 4 or 5 years of a mediocre video game to movie releases, which is unfortunate because Uncharted is probably the one that you could translate better than nearly any other game franchise. But
I do think The Last of Us HBO show, I think that's going to be the new standard.
Oh, yeah. Well, like, it'll be HBO, so it'll be amazing. But, it's just in your blockbuster films. This seems like an opportunity lost. Especially, sorry, I know we're trying to move on from it, but I watched the YouTube one again as well. That like, it's just so...
Nathan Fillion?
yeah, like see, Fillion's too old for the role now at the minute. I'm so happy that this exists as well, because that's something that could have been maybe if we
Yeah.
had done it like 12 years ago or something. Like I just saw that and like that would be so amazing. Like it'd be fantastic. So
Absolutely.
anyway.
Before we finish up movie news, just the last little quick bit of news. Lorcan, you don't like scary films, but did you watch Bird Box?
No, I put the blindfolds on while I was
Come
watching it.
on.
That's a reference from that film, isn't it?
I know
Isn't
it is. It is. Did you not watch it though?
No, I actually didn't watch it. Like it was like, and it wasn't because I thought it was going to be scary. Because
I've seen it was everywhere.
No, like I purposely, and like this is like the mode I get into sometimes as well. As soon as everyone started talking about it and people made memes about it, and then it came out that the studio had like a marketing strategy where they got people to make memes, and then it got big. I just kind of went like, oh, that's gross. I don't like that. And then I just never watched it. Kind of out of protest and kind of out of the fact that I'm a coward. So like one or the other. I'd like to think it's just a protest rather than me just being a scaredy cat. But
well, you missed it because it was a good film.
Was it a good film? Like I heard people saying that it was like a worse version of Quiet Place, basically.
I'm pretty sure this came out before Quiet Place, though.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that
maybe.
could be. Yeah. Look, I enjoyed it purely because like it's an interesting, different take on a premise. Like I like horror movies. I mentioned this before. I'm much more of a fan of horror movies that are not just like, oh, scary ghost in the closet, like something new. And this kind of had like a Quiet Place had the whole idea of like the monsters could hear you but they couldn't see you. This whole idea of like the you had to look them in the eye for them to do any harm to you.
Yeah. So the idea was that like it would turn into the scariest thing it could of like, or someone's worst fear, wasn't it?
You never actually see it in the film, but it's basically once you see it, it kind of has control over you. So like you could meet people that it's controlling, but you won't know that it's controlling them.
That's interesting.
They're trying to get you to see it, so they're trying to convince you that like go outside and take your mask off or whatever. So it's really interesting. It's kind of like almost like The Thing, where it's like you've no idea who it is, or like if it's kind of like controlling someone that you're with. So you have no idea of like what people's like what their motivations are, or why, or like who to trust or whatever. And the way they told the story is kind of flashing forward, flashing backwards, and then like Sandra Bullock kind of has like these children she's trying to look after, and it's just it's a really cool premise. Like I know a lot of people didn't like it, actually. It's I much prefer, because it's not really. It's almost like it's not scary in the sense of like you're like afraid to look at the screen. It's more just like this different type of scary where it's like, oh, what's going to happen next, or who is it, who should you be afraid of, or whatever.
I like that. I like the eerie idea that like like I've seen the trailers and parts of the film as well where she's wearing the blindfold as well. I'm assuming that like the creature probably learns, and some of the people that she's with who are wearing blindfolds are probably also controlled, and it's all manipulation as well. Like that sounds super interesting, actually. I might actually watch this. I've never heard it described in that type of way. I've heard people go like, essentially like if they look at it they die type of thing, and I'm like, oh, I bet you it's like a lot of jump scares of what people are actually afraid of. And
no, because you never throughout the whole movie see it, or like you never like you see people looking at something, but they're kind of like looking towards the screen, or they're looking off screen, but you never see it. So it's not one of those things where like it's taking the form of loads of different monsters or creatures or aliens or whatever. And I think I much prefer movies kind of like that, where you never see what it is that you're afraid of, almost.
I like that.
Or like it's good. Anyway, but they're the writer of so it's based off a book. The actual first movie is based off a book. So the writer of the book has a new book coming out now, the sequel to it called Mallory, which is due this week, actually July 21st as well. And when he was talking about the new book coming out, he was asked, is there a sequel being worked on Netflix? And he said, I can't say much, but all I can say is that it's in development.
All I can say is yes.
All I can say is yes. Yeah, exactly.
I can answer your question.
So yeah, they basically like there is one in development, but like the first one, it'll probably be the same kind of thing where like we won't hear about it until like a month beforehand, and they'll just drop a trailer or something. So anyway, I'm excited for it because I like the premise of it, and the way it ended definitely set up that you could continue on the story. So yeah, looking forward to that. No date or anything, because obviously technically we don't even know it's in development.
It's true.
Anyway, on to some television streaming news in the world of Star Wars.
Star Trek?
Not Star Trek. The better one.
Not Star Trek? There's another one. There's another one that's better.
There is another. Star Wars fans will get that reference, and if you didn't, then you're not a Star Wars fan.
You're gatekeeping pretty hard here.
Anyway, So Star Wars Rebels and Star Wars Clone Wars have officially finished up, both of them in the last couple of years, the animated shows, and we don't have a Star Wars animated show at the moment. But Lorcan, fear not, because the Bad Batch are here to save your day.
This is the worst episodes, the Bad Batch of episodes. This is the cutting room floor. This is like outtakes or the Jar Jar Binks episodes from the early days of the Clone Wars. That's what this is. The goofy adventures of Jar Jar Binks and C-3PO.
Did you not like them episodes at all?
They were awful. The Jar Jar Binks episodes of
the Bad Batch episodes.
No, they were fine. Like I only saw parts of it. Like I haven't actually finished a lot of Clone Wars. Like,
did you not watch season 7 yet?
I didn't watch the final season.
What's your problem? I've been telling you to watch this for ages.
No, it's because I want to watch all the rest of the other ones as well. Like I've seen most of the Clone Wars up until I think season 4, I think it was, and I want to watch the rest of them before I watch the final season.
You don't have to.
I know I don't have to. Oh yeah, but I have to.
No, you do these things to yourself.
Yeah, like I've missed the window where it was like brand new news as well. So like I'm just of the point that I'm just going to plug away at Clone Wars until I finish season 7.
Yeah, well, that's a pain. But anyway, so you haven't watched season 7?
I haven't watched season 7 at all.
Okay, so the first 3 episodes in season 7, they basically introduced these new batch of clones, which are called the Bad Batch, and it's basically like 5 or 6 clones that basically each one of them has a screw loose. They didn't come out like a clone is supposed to, but each one of them has like a specific skill that they're like amazing at. Like one of them's a good sniper, one of them's a good tracker, one of them is like a massive clone who can kick the crap out of anyone. So it's kind of like they're all different, whereas all the clones are meant to be the exact same person. These are like 5 of the Bad Batch, quote unquote, that didn't come out right, but ended up being like absolutely better than all the other clones. But instead of using them, they were just tossed to the side because they're the Bad Batch. So just it's one of those stupid concepts where you're like, clearly these people are better than your actual clones. Like, why are you not using them?
Yeah, it's like they don't sound like Bad Batches at all. It sounds like they all have a unique power that makes them better than everything else. Like
exactly, yeah.
Because of that, they're faulty because they're actually better. I think someone just wanted a cool name and they came up with it that way. It sounds pretty awesome actually.
Yeah, so it's good enough. Like they were introducing it, they were cool enough in the episodes, but like they weren't the best of episodes, to be honest.
Were they some type of Suicide Squad?
Basically, yeah, that's essentially what they are. But like they were good enough episodes. They were definitely not the worst of season 7. Like there's 3 storylines in season 7, and one of them is just absolutely awful. The Bad Batch is kind of like pretty good, and then the final 3 or 4 episodes are great. But anyway, so this new series is going to follow these group of clones after Order 66, which is basically where Clone Wars season 7 ended. So it's
the Bad Batch probably didn't get affected by Order 66.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking. Yeah. That happened to them
because maybe that's why they're the Bad Batch. They're faulty in that way that it doesn't register. Like the trigger word doesn't. That could be interesting.
But anyway, so that's where this series is going to take us, and it's going to be kind of showing these characters. Like, it hasn't really said much about it, but I'm curious to see what kind of way it takes them, because obviously we haven't really seen what happens to the clones after Order 66. They just basically were there when it happened, and then we're not there when we get to like the actual original Star Wars. So I'm just curious to see what way they kind of take it. Like, are they just gonna come out and be like mercenaries now in this new world, like after the Empire kind of takes over? But I'm also kind of curious to see, like, we haven't really seen a story like set just when the Empire took over, you know? Like most of the stories have taken place a couple of years, or we've seen like a Vader story where he's out just hunting Jedi or whatever, but that like technically could be set at any time. Like, I'm curious to see what it's going to be like. Very like if they start up like post Empire at the very beginning, I'm curious to see a kind of story from that perspective.
I assume they're probably going to be mercenaries as well, so like they'll immediately like I showed it. Like I'm sure like I actually haven't seen the end of season 7 of Clone Wars as well, but like I don't know if it like shows what happened to like the Bad Batch or anything, but I feel like the show will probably pick up with them whatever being asked to execute Order 66, and then everyone else going crazy and them not, and then them taking down like loads of other clones and maybe protecting a Jedi or something along those lines, and then fleeing that way, and then maybe I don't know, they all split up and it's about a year later and someone has to get the gang back together again to like save someone. That like, and that could be the premise for it. And like that would be interesting as well. Like, again, I don't know anything really about these characters at all. Like, are they like, because they're the clones, I'm assuming it's the same guy. It's like the Jango Fett guy
No,
again.
no, they all look individual as well.
Okay.
Different voice actors and everything. Yeah, so
Okay,
each have
because
their own
that could get
personality.
tiring otherwise.
Yeah, no, they each have like their own personality and they look different. Everything, so they're very different than most clones in the story.
All right.
So yeah, I mean, a good like it's probably like. I really hope that it's more on the lines of like Rebels in terms of like its maturity than like a Clone Wars, because
Yeah.
like the season 7 of Clone Wars definitely was more mature. But like again, like it'll be kind of one of those shows where it'll probably be good enough, and maybe towards the end of each season they'll have like a really good thing, but they'll probably have loads of crap filler episodes as well. So, but I'll probably be checking it out. I don't know when it's due out. So they'll probably have like I think Star Wars Celebration is maybe next year. So they might no Star Wars Celebration they pushed 2022.
Yeah.
So you never know. It might not be released until then, but if they've announced it now, I'm sure it's well into development, because usually by the time they announce these shows, they've already shot and like worked on most of them. So hopefully it'll be coming up soon enough.
And hopefully it'll be good.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be good. Yeah. Anyway, moving on to gaming news. And last week we talked about it, that we are recording a podcast, and we knew minutes after we got off the podcast Ubisoft were doing their event where they were going to release loads and loads of content.
They missed out. They missed out on their publicity. They
I know,
definitely
right?
could blow up a lot more if they just had a waited, or
free
went earlier.
publicity.
If we had a waited, wondered
Yeah.
there.
Exactly, yeah. So who doesn't want two Irish guys just talking crap about what they like online, you know?
We're definitely influencers in that regard. Like people play our video games. No one at all got angry at my video games list. No one at all got angry at my opinions.
With the top 10, like we post so much stuff online, but the minute you post your own opinion, it's like you're fucking wrong. You're an asshole.
I had my 10-6 ones, and someone's just like, "Listen, your games are awful, no cap," and I'm just like, "Thanks, dude." I'm like, that's pretty good. It's like firstly, these are my 10-6, but like secondly, screw you.
Anyway, going on to gaming news. So obviously, like you said, Ubisoft had that event, and we're expecting loads of announcements and loads of news. And to be honest, it was kind of meh. Did you watch it?
I didn't watch it, but I watched all the trailers that came from it, and it was most certainly meh. So it was. I was expecting something else. Like, we knew everything that was coming out, really, and nothing was really out. Like, maybe bar Far Cry, but like Far Cry was still the Far Cry trailer.
But even like all it was a cinematic trailer. Like there was nothing else to it. So yeah, they had like an hour-long event. It was called Ubisoft Forward. And like we're like I don't know. I wasn't expecting them to announce anything new, but I was probably expecting a bit more than what we got, because like even they didn't have much gameplay until like the show afterwards and stuff. But like they showed Watch Dogs. They showed a lot of gameplay from that, and it's like Watch Dogs. The new one kind of has like. It's got this cool premise where you can play as literally anyone in the game, like any NPC that you can take over. But at the same time, I'm like, that's just going to feel like you're on a whole host of side missions, because like you're not playing as one character in a story. You're almost playing as an organization trying to take down another organization through the use of all of these people. And sure, like you can get attached to certain people and they all have lives and stories and stuff. And like that's a cool mechanic that like literally every one of them has an individual, like every single NPC is controllable and has like skills and qualities and a life and everything that you can like control. Like they must have hours upon hours of dialogue and stuff from this that that no one will ever experience, because like there's so many options you could play as. And I like the concept of like you can play as anyone and everyone has their unique skills. So depending on what mission you're doing will depend on which character you want. I just feel like after a couple of hours of that, I just get bored of it, because I'll be like, oh, well, I don't really care about any of them because they're basically all just cannon fodder.
Well, yeah, see, that's it. Like, there's no relatable character. Like, there's not as if there's a... Well, there probably is an overarching story, but, like, no one's ever going to be attached to, like, their character that they're essentially taking control of. Like, or people are going to have to do a really good job, or the game's going to have to do a really good job to, like, really... I don't know, like get you invested in basically everyone you want to be. But because you can so fluidly pick other people, it just doesn't work well. It feels like it could work well for like a mission. So do you know, like something like a Titanfall 2 where they bring in like the time travel mechanic, and it's really nice to get a flavor of it. It feels like this would be really cool to do as part of a mission where it shows that, you know, or even a side mission, as you said, like where it's like there's the ongoing story, but if you want to recruit people, this is how you do it. And it's like a side mission thing, and it's a nice little extra to go, well, oh, that's a really cool innovative thing that you can do. But if that's the majority of the game, it's going to feel like I don't know. Well, like listen, again, I'm being pessimistic. Like they could bring a mechanic in it that's pretty good, but I've actually never really liked Watch Dogs. I played the first one, I didn't like it, and the second one didn't seem to grab me either. So I don't even know if I'm actually even that excited about this game at all.
Yeah, to be honest, like I did really enjoy the first one because it was. I think the
Mm.
first one was more. It didn't live up to its potential for sure, but it was very much like Assassin's Creed in the modern age. Like it was definitely the same
Yeah,
game mechanics. It was a lot of the same stuff where you're taking down cell towers rather than like other towers and whatever.
yeah,
So I did enjoy the first one. The second one, it was just a whole lot of wishy washy. Just like it just didn't. It felt like you were just doing a lot of side stuff. Like
yeah.
that's the thing with Watch Dogs where I found like the first one had a clear story. You were this character and you were trying to take down this organization. I think that's
Mm.
why I liked it. Second one was just a lot of like, hey, you're just now a recruit to this organization, and like so many of the missions were like a phone call telling you what to do, or like
Yeah.
you'd go somewhere and you'd get a piece of paper and they'd be like, this is the mission, and you'd hear like a
Mm.
voiceover telling you what to do, or like the dead sec would come on screen and tell you what to do, and it's like, but
Yeah.
you're just a voice. I don't care. Like what's
Yeah.
why am I doing this? I don't care. Like
And
you're
like
telling me they're taking over the world. I don't care.
but it was things like even the gameplay I didn't like love because like the kind of sandbox world wasn't like a GTA level one either. So it's never really as fun to drive around or do anything in. And then a lot of like the really fun and unique kind of gameplay things like, you know, hacking into the cameras, and it just felt like a massive chore more than anything else. And it just felt like it made levels feel longer. Like there was always one mission I remember like where I was in like a multi-story car park thing and I had to get to the top, but every floor I basically had to do like 5 floors in a row, and every floor was like hide behind a car, take out the camera, then like turn on an alarm and then sneak past the guy. And it felt like I was doing that every single floor, and I was just like, this is kind of crap. Like it was really gimmicky, and I just didn't like it that much. And when I see this, I'm like, yeah, it looks kind of cool, and it'd be fun playing in London, I suppose, as well. Like it's not an American city, and you know that could be kind of interesting. I like, to be honest with you, the environment's the only thing that has me interested, because like I know I don't like Watchdog games, so like we'll see. Yeah, we'll see how it goes as well. Like I think I'll wait to see initially what the first 2 weeks are like, and maybe get video footage of people like actually playing the game and getting opinions on it before I actually jump into it. I don't think I'll jump in day one on it.
Yeah, and I think that similar to that, like the one thing I have seen is like people online saying that have played, like had some gameplay of it, is that like the London is amazing.
Yeah,
Like
it
London
looks awesome.
is cool. Like that does look great, and it does seem like a great setting that we haven't played a video game in much, you know. So like I would love to play in that environment, but again, if it's just all show and not actual like fun to in like run around in or whatever, then like maybe not. But yeah, look, we'll wait and see once it comes out. Far Cry 6 was basically just a trailer. Like great to see what's his name, Giancarlo Esposito in there from
Looked
Breaking
cool,
Bad,
but
Mandalorian.
it was just a trailer. It was just like a cinematic trailer of him giving a grenade to the kid and being like, hey, this is a metaphor, kid, but it's actually a grenade, so you know, don't drop it, but at the same time it's a metaphor. But like the balls in him like giving him a grenade and then walking beside him, and it was just like, yeah, like, you know, if this backfires, it won't teach your kid a lesson because it'll kill him and it'll kill you. So like, what is the point of this? I get that it's a grenade, and then at the end they're on the roof. It's like, so he's gonna have to throw the grenade at like the people out there. I guess that's probably what he wants him to do in the end. But yeah, it's kind of like the bad guys in Far Cry are pretty awesome, you know, but like they're very much like, I know what they're going to be like, you know what I mean? Like as much as I see them, like it's awesome, you've really good bad guys, but they're all kind of the same bad guy. So like they're just irredeemable, but they have like a grayness to them as well, where you're like, I can kind of see where you're coming from and where you're kind of justified, but more often than not you're just like unequivocally awful. But anyway, listen, there's not much to talk about this. We haven't really seen anything, so
no gameplay, no nothing apart from that trailer, and no, I don't think there was a release date. I didn't write one down anyway, so I don't think I missed one.
I don't think there was one. I think it was more like, hey, this is coming up at some stage, so I reckon 2022 or maybe late 2021.
Yeah, like it might have been that might have been a nice announcement had it not been leaked about 3 or 4 days beforehand as well. But even at that, like it was still just a cinematic trailer, so there's still not much to talk about apart from the fact that it's coming at some stage, which we all probably knew about anyway. But sure, look, that's that. The one part of the show that I did enjoy personally was the Assassin's Creed Valhalla kind of deep look, because I think they had a lot more gameplay trailers and stuff afterwards. I know they had like a 20-minute long kind of gameplay demo which we could watch as well, which I
watched parts of it.
Look at that. I think I watched most of the 20-minute one, so it was cool kind of looking through it. But based on this, I mean, the setting is awesome. Like it looks beautiful. The game, the world, like it looks really really cool. Gameplay looks like very similar to Origins. And
Yeah, it looks like Assassin's Creed, which was the only thing about the trailer. Like, I was like, setting's great, characters are great. I like the idea of, like, you know, being in the Viking boat and raiding the towns and everything like that. But like,
yeah,
as much as I saw it, I'm like, oh, this reeks of, you know. And I like those other two Assassin's Creed games, but it is very much the exact same game, skinned differently, I suppose. You know, and I could already see what the gimmicks are. Like, yeah, you raid towns all the time, and the way you do that is you get to the town, you kill some people, and then you set the houses on fire with the torches and stuff, or like the flaming
yeah,
arrows. And I saw that, and I'm like, oh, this is going to get really old really fast. I'm going to have to do this like 200 times. It's going to lose its impact after the first one, but I'm going to have to continuously do it. And and it was even clunky the way people got off the boat and ran into like the town. I'm like, oh, this is so like, I don't know what I was expecting, honestly, because it was exactly what I was thinking it was going to be. And like, I'm not, it's not that I'm disappointed, but it's more that I was expecting, or I was hoping that this game would be a little different, like maybe in the way that, you know, the last game, which was Syndicate, and then Origins came out, and it was like massively different, and I got really excited. I kind of had it in my head that like this will be a bit more different, and I'll be excited about it. But yeah, like, listen, I'm going to play this day one 100%, and I'm probably going to enjoy it for the most part, but I'm probably going to get tired of it, and it won't get a game of the year for me. I just know that right now. But it still looks fun, you know?
Yeah, it does look fun. The one thing I'd say, like I said, like like Origins I absolutely loved because it was completely new from anything we played, like in terms of like Assassin's Creed beforehand. And I love that Egyptian setting. Odyssey felt like the exact same game with a new skin on it, and I didn't enjoy it because all they done is made the world like 100 times bigger and filled it with loads of absolute trash. There was
and it was mainly water as well. Like, it wasn't like there was nothing really unique about it for the most part.
Yeah, and I wasn't too excited by the whole like Greek setting either. So for this now, it looks like they've based it on the same thing, except one of the things I did enjoy what they were talking about. They were like, they've toned down the weapon selection and like the customization, not the customization options, but in terms of like the amount of things you can find, they've toned that down and more focused on leveling up the good things that you do find.
Awesome.
So it's not going to be a case of like literally every 100 meters you find a different sword.
Yeah,
and you're
like a new purple loot sword or something like that.
Yeah, and you're just continuously changing, and it's just like there's no point leveling up anything because you're probably going to find a better one in like half an hour.
Yeah.
So this one looks kind of cool like that, and the way that they have the dual wielding is kind of a cool concept in the sense that like you can pair any two weapons together. So you could have an axe in one hand, a sword in one hand. You could have two swords. You could have two axes. You could have two shields. Like, it's kind of a cool pairing the way. So you could have like very unique individual combat in that sense. And like, to be honest, just having a game that's set in this kind of Viking times where you're like invading England is kind of cool, and I like that idea behind it. The map that we've seen, like the basic map we've seen for like a second at one stage, looks kind of cool. And I do like the fact that like they have the ships back, but it's not big, massive naval combat, which I never enjoyed. But it's more like down the rivers and the lakes and stuff, so you can still use it. And they're on the boat, they'll still sing songs for people that love the pirates. Used to sing songs, and they'll still tell
people love that. But I was never into it. Like, they're just like sea shanties, and like they're not even that great. People were like, oh yeah, the sea shanties are great, like, you know, it's the best part of the game, like getting a new song. And I'm just like, what? You know, like, it's fun, it adds to it, but like I'm not getting hyped because like someone's singing, like, you know, I don't even know a version of it. Like, I was gonna do something, but I would embarrass the hell out of myself. But like, just the
one other thing that got me though, they got me not in a good way, but they had the gameplay playthrough afterwards, where I think it was an IGN guy who played it, but one of the developers was on the voiceover too, so they were talking through his gameplay. And there was one section where they had a choice, basically. You as a character have a choice where you take down one of like the bosses, I'll say, in a town, and you have the choice either to kill him or not to kill him. And one of the guys is helping you, like from England, is urging you not to kill him, essentially. And your choice is like, do I kill him because that's a Viking way, or do I let him live because like this guy in England is helping me, wants him to live? So basically, you can choose, and the developer's like, oh, and this is going to have an impact on the story later, and eventually through the gameplay, it comes back where he comes back at you because you let him live, but then you end up killing him. And then developers like, so either way, you're going to end up killing him, and either way, this guy's going to be on your side. And it's like, well, what the hell?
What was the point in it, other than the fact that you've added more steps to things?
Exactly, yeah. Like, if you're going to give someone a choice, make that choice. Like, if that guy's going to come back, make him come back and kill the guy that was helping you. So now the guy can't help you anymore because of your choice. Like, do that rather than being like, so whatever way you do it, like, you might have this, he'll come back and get you, but like, you'll kill him and you'll still be friends with the other guy. It's like, what's the point of it
Yeah,
then? It's
so
just an extra
basically what they're saying is that it's not a smart system. Like, it doesn't matter what your choices do because you're all going to come back to one, but you're adding more steps in between. So, like, that's a weird thing to say. Like, he definitely should have said, like, oh, that person will come back at you. Like, so the choices matter. Like, don't go that extra step and say that, like,
exactly,
oh, well, it at the end of the day, it's the same experience for everyone, blah, blah, blah,
yeah,
blah,
yeah.
blah, blah.
You'll end up in the same place regardless. You might just have an extra
Yeah,
fight. Like, it's just that's
that's
completely
like a
pointless.
bad point, if anything.
Exactly, yeah. That's the minute I hear them say it, I was like, why did you say that? That's so stupid. But anyway, yeah, like it does. There's not, apart from the dual wielding weapons and the new like visual type of world. A lot of it does just seem like a combination of previous games. But at the same time, we have heard that like it's kind of in the same studios working on these games, and these are kind of like the
Yeah.
trilogy of games, like Origins, Odyssey, and now Valhalla. So
Yeah,
like I know, obviously
I'm
we can't be.
definitely excited to see what comes next. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
that's what I was gonna
they
say.
copied the whole Witcher open world trend before this. I'd love to see them, and like, I know it'll probably never happen as well, but I would like to see them go like the whole Naughty Dog cinematic route almost. You know what I mean? Like, create these environments and have like a big, because like the stories of Assassin's Creed are actually decent for the most part. So like, they could do something here as well and take it out of kind of like the open world as well and have a go at it as a linear story and then see how it works. Like
Yeah.
it'd just be a cool thing to try because they've always been open world, and I feel like they've just, maybe it's oversaturated at this point, and instead of going on a massive hiatus to bring it back, I reckon they could just try something different. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Cool. Sweet. That's just about most of the news for the day. So let's move on to some random recommendations.
But I love your voice. It is beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful.
Well, that's not true, but anyway, let's say it. Lorcan, have you been watching, listening, reading anything over the past week?
So I started watching, a bit random for me, hence random recommendations. I started watching the Formula One documentary on Netflix. It's called Formula One Drive to Survive. It's there's 2 seasons of it now. I've only watched the first season and half of the second season at this stage. But basically, it's kind of like a live documentary that follows each team in Formula One over the course of a season. So the very first season follows the 2018 season. The second season follows last season, which was 2019. And I wouldn't be a massive fan of Formula One. I just finished lots of kind of different documentaries, and I like the sports ones that are on Netflix, like the Sunderland Till I Die and a few other ones like that. So I was like, oh, I'll give it a go. And I put it on, and I didn't know how much I loved motor racing as well. Like, again, not my biggest thing in the world. I wouldn't have watched Formula One a lot, recently. Like, I definitely would have watched it a bit younger. But yeah, like the drama that's in this is insane. Like, so the way, like, I wasn't aware that like in every race there'll be at least a crash, or like someone will mess up and a car will be kind of like destroyed, or the people in the pit will do something wrong, or the drivers will kind of end up like fighting with their teammates essentially and like kind of ramming them off the track. But then you have like a layer above it where you have the drivers who are whatever, like the divas and the actors basically in a movie, and then you have the guys who run it, like the pit masters, who are like the kind of managers and their bosses, and how they handle things as well, and the overarching thing. And there's so much like rivalry, and everyone's backstabbing each other, and it's kind of like a drama. It's really, really interesting, and because it's like like a real thing, and these are real sports people or real kind of motorsports people, like it's so interesting. And like I kind of found myself that after every episode it was almost like a cliffhanger, the way they kind of set up the drama. I'm like, wow, like you couldn't script this. And I just wondered if they looked out and it was mainly that season. But the season 2 I've been watching, there's actually even more drama in it. So I'm like, wow, like this sport is like packed with like so much like storytelling, like, and it's really good. And like I kind of urge anyone, even if they're not interested in motorsports, to check it out. Like the way this is framed, like it could be just like a kind of like a drama series rather than anything to do with motorsports. Like the motorsports are just a vehicle, hey, pun intended, a vehicle for like getting this like high stakes drama in there, and like a life or death situation, and then adding like petty kind of like beefs and like rivalries get involved. But it's so interesting. Like I don't know if you've seen any of it, Keith, have you? But it's awesome.
I think I remember I wanted to start it, and I've watched like an episode of it, but I haven't got back into it. But I do really, I've had it on my like to watch list for ages and just never got around to it. So it's good to hear that you've watched it, and it actually is it is good. One of the things actually I've seen it just when you talk about sports documentaries, that there's I don't know who is doing it, but there's a documentary being done at the minute on Sergio Ramos from
Oh yeah, that's
Sergio Ramos, I think it's called.
I also think that's Amazon Prime as well. I could be
Is it
wrong.
Amazon doing it?
I think it's Amazon Prime, and it's all about Ramos. And it
Yeah.
started like last year. Do you remember when he got his he purposely got a red card in the second Ajax game, so he'd be fit to play in the final, even if he got another yellow card. But then they ended up losing that game in Ajax. So apparently he had the full team with him while he was sitting in the box in the Bernabeu, you know, talking about how smart he was gaming the system, and then Real Madrid end up going out because of his like stupid decisions. I love Ramos, but like he's kind of one of those characters who is he's just like a villain of the sport. Like I think if you didn't support Real Madrid, you'd hate Ramos because he's such a hateful character. But like they're like the best personalities in any sort of sport. So I know you're a big fan of Ramos and Real Madrid, so I think you'll enjoy this.
I can't wait for it. Sweet, yeah, sounds great.
So have you watched or listened or read or done anything?
I watched The Old Guard.
I
put the review up of it on our page if anyone's interested in it. But it's like, I get kind of overall quickly, like it's good enough, but it's one of those things where it had like a cool potential and it just didn't really live up to it. It's weird in the sense that like they have this cool idea. Charlize Theron is like the lead in it, but like the rest of the team that's with her are pretty good and pretty up to par. There's another female kind of co-lead, a younger actress that kind of is like a new person that joins the team, and her acting just stands out night and day because she's in scenes with Charlize Theron the whole time, and it's like, oh, you are not up to scratch at all, unfortunately. And there's some like weird choices with the like they've got like scenes in it where, so basically, sorry for anyone that hasn't seen The Old Guard or heard about it, it's essentially this team of like, there's 4 of them that are basically immortal, and they figured out like at some stage throughout their lives that they're immortals, and then the other one, once someone figures it out,
stabbed them with a knife and they didn't die.
Exactly. But once you figured out, basically whoever else in the world is immortal, like has a vision of you, so they end up coming together. And so there's only 4 of them now, and I think there had only been a couple more before them that had died. But at some stage, essentially, you can. It just kind of ends. It just runs out. Like your time is up, essentially, is how they frame it. But the 4 of them are like the youngest one of the 4 is like 200 years old. The oldest one is Charlize Theron's character, who's like thousands of years old.
Wow.
So like really cool premise in terms of like how much of a badass she is, like because she's been around for years, so she's like skilled in like all these different fighting styles and weapons and whatever. And so like when you're going into a fight scene, like it's based off this, like the comic by Greg Rucka is just really cool and the art style is class, but then the movie just is kind of like generic action movie 101 with a bit of a different plot to it. Like the action, you can tell that it was put together really well by the stunt crew and the actors and stuff, but the way it's shot is like very choppy and you can't really see what's going on, and some of it,
it's kind of like that like moving camera thing that shakes.
It's weird in the sense that like you're seeing cuts of it and you're like, oh my god, that's cool, but like you really didn't shoot it well. Like you could have shown that so much better. Like these guys are like fighting with axes, swords, shotguns and everything at the same time, so like it should be John Wick on steroids, like, but it's really just kind of like, this is kind of just another random action film. And like I was going to say, some parts of it, like for some reason they have like a song come on, like so it just reminded me of like Daredevil and Elektra movies where they just have like this action, like not like
they put on Evanescence, Wake Me Up.
Like something random where they just have a song and it's just like, what the hell's going on, like before an action scene, and I'm like, what is this, like a music video all of a sudden, like turn this shit up. So like all in all, like if you're an action fan, it's worth a watch, but like you're not missing anything by not watching it. So I wouldn't be jumping out of your seat to go and check it out or anything. It's definitely set up for a sequel, though. Whether or not enough people will watch it on Netflix for them to actually greenlight a sequel, you wouldn't know. But
I've been hearing mixed things. Like a lot of people are just very much meh, like it's just meh. But I think I'll go watch it. Like it looks interesting enough. Like it kind of looks like an Extraction, you know what I mean? Like where it's like, that's interesting enough. The action's kind of fun, but like I don't think I'm gonna be like getting people to watch it really by the looks of it.
I definitely enjoyed Extraction way more than this.
Oh, okay. Extraction's quite good.
I enjoyed Extraction, basically because it's good action, but I think the other thing that we're not going to be talking about, because I don't think either of us has played it yet, but the new Ghost of Tsushima came out on Friday. I currently have it downloading at the minute.
It is currently downloading right now.
And I have some time off, not the week coming, but the following week. So I think I'm going to hold off and just kind of play a lot of it that week. So maybe you might have played some by next week. It
No.
might be fit the topic.
Oh, yeah, maybe. I think I'll probably end up playing it at some stage this week. Like maybe just start it up. But like it's that open world type of game as well. So I reckon this will be one that I probably won't finish within like a week or two. But like I definitely have enough to talk about it. But I wouldn't expect a review of it anytime soon. Part-time and all that jazz.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I'm definitely looking forward to playing it. I can't wait to get into it. The world looks amazing. And anytime I've been watching reviews or something, like the first thing people are like, "So is this just Assassin's Creed set in Japan?" And I'm like, "Oh, let's hope not."
Yeah, I really hope not. But it kind of looks like it might be. But like I've seen little clips that people had up over the like just over this weekend, and you know it definitely looks promising. People are having a good time with it. They're talking about how positive it is in terms of the direction being like single player focused and you know like not loot box focused as well. So like it looks it looks interesting. So like I'm definitely down with the direction. So we'll see if it actually is good. I'll be the judge of that.
All right.
I'm so definitive.
Alrighty, I think that's just about it for the week. So thanks for listening, guys. If you enjoyed, hit the like button, subscribe, follow us on Instagram and potentially the others. We don't really care about the others.
Just Instagram. Instagram's the big one, and YouTube, obviously.
Yes, follow us on YouTube and share to people or whatever. And yeah, that's wear a mask, wear gloves, be smart.
Yeah, wear a mask. Don't spit at anyone. Get out of the burning house. If you know if the house is on fire, it's probably on fire. Listen, even if it's not on fire, get out, and you know you won't burn to death. You know, at least there's that. You know, you'll be outside, you'll get some fresh air, be all good. That's a metaphor once again. Don't leave your house. It's quarantined. But if there's a fire, leave your house. Listen, I'm rambling.
You've got so lost in what you're trying to say there.
All right.
Anyway,
Jamie.
guys, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.